Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Stevenson here. So today's challenge is a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to play a game called Greedy Pig. Pig is an easy game to learn and it's a game that anyone can play. It's a good game for practicing your addition, but it's also a game of strategy. There are lots of variations on how to play this game and I'll share some of them with you at the end. So for this game you're going to need 1 or 2 dice, pen and paper and at least 2 players. If you can't find dice in your house, don't worry, there are lots of virtual dice roller apps online. So first of all, here's a quick summary of the game, but then I'll talk you through with an example. So the aim of the game is to be first to get to 100. Each turn of the game involves 1 or more rolls of the die. You keep rolling until you decide to stop and bank your points, or until you roll a 1. If you roll a 1, you lose all your points that haven't been banked and your turn ends. And then you keep going like this until the first player reaches 100. Or if you want a quicker version, you can vary it and end at 50. So let's imagine how this game might play out. For this game, I'm going to imagine there are 2 partners, partner A and partner B, and I've made up a score sheet like the one you can see on the screen. So partner A goes first and they roll 1 die, and if their score is either a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 or a 6, then they can write it on the score sheet. But if they roll a 1, they get no score and they lose their turn. Let's say they rolled a 5. They can then mark it up under their side. And it is still partner A's turn until they decide to either bank their points and pass the play over to partner B, or if they roll a 1, when they'll lose their turn and all the points that they haven't banked. So let's say they decide to roll again, and this time they roll a 4. They can then add that to their score. 5 add 4 equals 9. Still partner A's turn. If partner A does decide to keep going but rolls a 1, then they will lose all their points. But if they stop and bank them now, it stops being their turn, but they'll still have the 9 points safe. What do you think they should do? Okay, let's say they decide to keep going, and this time they roll a 6. They can add the 6 to the 9, which gives a total of 15 points. And then they have to decide, are they going to stick and bank those 15 points, or are they going to keep going but risk rolling a 1 and losing them all? Let's say partner A at this point decides, I'm not going to get too greedy, I'm going to stay safe and I'm going to bank the 15 points. They would then circle the 15 points. That means they won't lose them even if they roll a 1 at a later stage. And it becomes partner B's turn. Partner B then goes through the same process. So let's say they roll a 6 on their first turn and they decide to keep going. Then maybe they rolled a 3 to take them to 9, and then a 5 to take them to 14. Maybe at this stage partner B might think, I think it's worth the risk to keep going because partner A is at 15. What are my chances of getting a 1? I'm going to roll again. But let's say this time they did roll a 1. That would put partner B back to 0. Their turn would be up and it would be back to partner A. Are you ready to have a go now at playing the game? As you do play, think about what different strategies you might use. For example, do you always bank after the same number of rolls? Or do you always bank after the same number of points? Or does it depend on what your partner's score is? Whether you're in the lead or whether you're far behind? How might you know that your strategy works best? Could you prove it? There are lots of different ways to play Greedy Pig. Here are some of the variations. You can play using 2 dice, but if you roll a 1 on either dice, then you get no points for that round. And if you roll a 1 on each dice, snake eyes they call that, you lose all your points for that turn. Another very common way of playing this is rather than going first to a certain number, you play a set number of rounds. So say you play 5 rounds and you tally up your score each time. And then at the end, whoever has the highest total score over the 5 rounds is the winner. Another version is that all players use the same number that's been rolled. This makes it more of a game of strategy and less about luck. It's then up to each individual player whether they choose to bank or roll. You can also change the numbers. If you want to make it easier, just use the numbers 1, 2 and 3. Or if you want to make it more challenging, maybe you can use multiple dice. As always, we would love to hear how you got on with this challenge. Maybe you can share pictures of you playing the game. Or tell us about the strategies you used. Did you find a best strategy? Maybe you managed to prove that your strategy was the best. Maybe you've managed to make up your own variation of this game and you'd like to share that with us. If so, find us on Twitter at AttainRain, #TeamRainMaths, or by emailing gw20greeley@glowmail.org. Have fun!